How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Lucid Group. Yes, I was talking about in my previous video, one of the areas of support that you want to see hold up is right at $50. We ended up testing $50.08 on the day, and we saw a lot of buyers stepping in and wanting to buy up that dip. Again, if you are trading this, it is very important that you're paying attention to the range and as well as the consolidation, what is happening in front of you. And for anyone who is buying and holding in regards for investment purposes, you just need to make sure that you're making a right decision that is going to be the best for you. But you know what? I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what the stock looks like in a bearish case scenario and as well as in a bullish case scenario. You want to be prepared before you push that buy button or that sell button. And then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and the short interest information. The reason why this is important, the short interest will have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know what was the buying and as well as the selling behavior like on the retail side and as well as for the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Lucid Group. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $51.12, being down 7.41%. On the low, it tested $50.08, and then on the high, testing $57.44. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 130.388 million shares, and then for the average volume over 10 trading days being at 122.846 million shares. So what we noticed right away, we did end up having above average volume on the day. We did have some selling pressure, but I must say Lucid did hold up itself fairly well. We'll get into that. And now when we take a look at our chart, which is the daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is right at 63.93. So yes, being in that overbought territory. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we have strength above the 200-day, the 100-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA, maintaining this strong uptrend. So like I talked about in my previous video, one of the areas of support that I wanted to see hold up was at $50. So we ended up actually testing $50.08 on the day, showing some strength, having a big time bounce. When we take into consideration the high at $57.44, I was also saying if we can get past this $57.75, then of course I'll be looking forward to seeing that move to $60. We were unable to actually break that, but I do know if we do have the opportunity to do so, we could get to $60. Now, as far as going into tomorrow, there's a few things we got to pay attention to. Market conditions. So we want to see a continuation of $50 holding up. We can see inside the after hours at the time of this recording, it is around 51.20. So if it decides to pull back even further, then I'm going to be looking for some support here right at this $49 level and right over here right at this $48 level. And then the other level that I was telling you guys about was right here, right around $45. So those are some key areas you're going to want to pay attention to. But for the most part, if we end up having a strong market, the way how Lucid has been consolidating within this range like we spoke about, things can definitely turn around very quickly. So keep this one on your watch list. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. So green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So we can see here for November the 22nd filings, we have SMOG, so Smog Van Eck Vectors Low Carbon Energy ETF that purchased just over 284,000 shares. We also have WFIVX Wilshire 5000 Index Fund Investment Class that purchased 3,447 shares. And we also have FKGRX Franklin Growth Fund Class A that purchased just over 4 million shares. And then we have Franklin Templeton Variable Insurance Products Trust that purchased just under 80,000 shares. shares. And that's about it for November 22nd filings. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the dark pool short volume ratio is at 58.26%. And then for the dark pool short volume being just over 53.9 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 10 million, updated 17 minutes ago. And then for the short ball free rate, it was at 0.51%. Now, when we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we can see for the close of the 18th being at 35.65, and then for the close of the 19th, which was last week Friday, being at 58.26. So what this tells us, Lucid does have short squeeze potential, and it's part of the reasons why there's a lot of volatility in the play, and that's why it's going to be very interesting to see what it looks like as far as for the numbers are concerned later on in the evening. So now let's jump into the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Lucid. So we can see here on the inflow, it was at 1,535, and then on the outflow, 1,647. And keep in mind, these numbers are in the millions when we get to it. So for the large, it was 11.72, and on the medium, it was 843, and then on the small, it was 680. When we take a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 12.45. On the medium, it was 921, and then on the small, it was 713. When we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for today, November the 22nd, it being not that bad at all, 0.73 on the outflow, and this is in the millions as well. When we take a look now at the breakdown even further, we can see on the small, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which is potentially institutions, we had more selling than we had buying as well. So we could see there was a lot of profit taking overall on the day, and this is not surprising whatsoever, especially on the retail side. Now, when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it is at 7.93%. So yes, that is up there, but one thing that is still clear, there are many who are holding on to their Lucid shares, but there also are a lot of traders who are taking advantage of the price action. So this is why it is very important that you have a strategy to make sure you're not buying in at the highs. This is very important because no one wants to be a bag holder, and plus on top of that, I want to make sure you're making the right decisions that are best for you. So now let's jump into the final thoughts, and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Lucid, I must say we did have a volatile time inside of the market today. Even towards the end, we witnessed strong sell-offs. But one thing that was very interesting, Lucid was able to hold up the $50 level. A lot of buyers came in and said, you know what, I'm going to buy this up right now. So we want to see a continuation of that going into tomorrow. Keep in mind, we do have a short week going into the holidays, so you know there's going to be more volatility to come inside this play, and it could potentially break through the $50 area, and I want to make sure that is something that you know. Also, when we took a look going on Fintel, we could see it still continues to have short squeeze potential. So with that said, this is why you're going to continue to see fluctuations in price, and I want to make sure that you're on the winning side. For investment purposes, my decision remains the same. I would not be buying in at these current levels due to the fact that I feel the valuation is way too high for this company. But I'm not telling you that you should not go out there and buy some shares if you believe in the long-term prospects, so that at the end of the day, it is your money. As far as for traders are concerned, of course, there is a lot of opportunities for this play. Whether you want to go long on this play, so whether you want to buy some shares or ride the momentum to the upside, or whether you want to play short and take advantage of the downside, the opportunities are there. We had a strong spike going into the $57 range, and once it ended up failing, it came all the way down to 50. So I know many of you buy puts, you guys short the stocks, whatever the case may be, so there are opportunities. But do make sure this play, as long as it can continue to stay in that $50 range, or just use $50 as support, I'm still going to hold my stance that, you know what, there's a good chance it'll be able to get to $60. So just make sure that you have a game plan in place to make sure you're prepared to take advantage when those opportunities do present themselves. So let's see how Lucid performs going into tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.